Just wait for the last few people to join and say hello. Hello, everybody. I think we are now live. So I just wanted to introduce you to Amie Cruz, who is going to be doing our next session on relaxation. We've got a little video to show you, but Amie, if you just want to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Yes, hello everyone, I'm Amie and it's an absolute delight to be with you today. I'm not sure how I follow everything that's gone before, it's all been incredible. And so my session is a real blend of some thought prompts, some hints and tips of things that you can do now to help you to feel more contented in life, to feel more relaxed and at ease with where you are. And so whilst the session is a little bit thought-provoking, I'm hoping that you can take some of the things I share with you away and spend some more time on them by yourself. So please, like you've already been doing, use the chat box, use the Q&A. I'm going to run through my slides in just a second, but I absolutely love to answer your questions and follow along at the end. So Rachel, yeah, should we hit the video?
Hit it.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Amie Cruz, mindset coach and motivational speaker. I'm so excited to be with you today because we all deserve to live our best life, a better life, whatever that is for us. So I'm here today to share with you some of my lessons, my insights, and some of the journey that I've had along the way to live my own best happy life. So it's hard to make time for yourself, isn't it? There's always something else to do. And I'll bet even today, some of you have been squeezing in chores, trying to get ahead of the next day, tidying up. The list goes on and on. There's always something else to do ahead of what it is that it would support you and keep you showing up as a good person in your life for you and the others around you. And when you do finally carve out time for you, it can bring feelings of guilt, and that lovely quiet bath or reading time you planned quickly gets eaten up with thinking about other things because there is always more to be done. And when we've got a good life, we're told to be happy with our lot and that it's not okay to want more. But why the heck not? As we are, we're great and we can be even better. I'm on a mission to remind you that you are important and to show you how you can make small, practical changes that can make a massive difference to how you show up and move you forwards to a better life, one step at a time. I believe that everyone should be able to experience amazing everyday living with as much joy, freedom, and ease as possible. So I'm Amie Cruz. I'm a mindset coach and motivational speaker, and I help stressed and busy people, parents in particular, who feel like they don't do anything for themselves to reclaim their relationship with self-care. And by using easy, everyday, actionable steps, create an even better life for themselves. A life that's more contented, calmer, and enjoyable. So what's coming up in my session? I want to ask you a very important question, and I'll be starting with that in just a moment. I want to share with you the mindset shifts that matter. I'm going to be sharing 5 mindset shifts. And I'd love to share with you the simplest way that you can start living your best life from today. So here's how you can get the most from being here with me. I'm going to be sharing a few different ideas, and no doubt it's going to spark new thoughts for you. And I'm sure that if you've listened to many of the other speakers and you've done lots of the other activities in this amazing seminar, you'll have a whole list of things that you can do. But I want you to focus on appreciating where you are now and not overcommitting. So you don't have to do all of the things straight away, but start pulling together those various ideas. And when you do commit with something, go all in and commit with power and focus. And I would love you to create your personal action plan, something that you're going to take forward from this workshop and from tying all those loose ends together. And I would love you to share your journey with me and keep sharing. And I'll be explaining how you can do that at the end of this session. So you're here because you want to do something. Maybe it's because you know that something needs to change in your life. Perhaps you've got a feeling that something will change, or you've got something specific that you want and need to change, but you just don't know where to start. Perhaps you're just coming into this really open-minded and you don't even know what's possible yet. And that's a really exciting place to be. So you're here to make amazing progress, but I just wanted to reality check. We love the idea of an amazing life, but is it really possible? Because what if life could be more awesome most of the time? And I say most of the time because I'm a realistic life coach. It's never going to be perfect all of the time. And I'd much rather think about how we can make our lives even more awesome most of the time. Lots of us are living good lives. We're okay. But what if it could be even more awesome? And that's a question that I'd like you to ponder through this session today, but also take that forward into your own learnings. So a little about me. Well, my background is in corporate and executive development, leadership development, and behavioral change. That's me on the right-hand side there. In my corporate job, where I was working in a FTSE 250 company, I absolutely loved my career and I was so career focused. From really when I left school, I went into the world of work and I always wanted more. I wanted even better, big promotions, more responsibilities. I really was curious about the world of people and people development. And I was so delighted to land my dream job doing just that, age 24. I chased this relentless pursuit of my career and I absolutely loved it. I thrived in the corporate environment and it was such a buzz getting that job done and really moving forward and progressing. But everything changed when I had my son. Almost from the moment he was born, I realized my life was never going to be the same again. I had a wonderful 16 months off on maternity leave. And we'd had a bit of a challenging start, so it was nice to be able to relax into being a mum. But then when it came time to go back to work, I panicked. I realised that I wasn't the same person as when I'd finished and come on maternity leave. I knew I wanted more. I wanted something different. In fact, my whole perspective had changed, and my life had changed as well. I realised that I had been chasing a dream that didn't fit me anymore. And whilst I loved my corporate career and I had a great time, it was the wrong dream for me now and in my future. I did have a moment of panic that I wasted my life. I wanted more, but I didn't know where to start. And I was having a bit of an identity crisis, having been this corporate career woman, suddenly faced with so many choices around what I could do next. Eventually, I got myself together and I started to work out what my best could look like. And it was really about having time and freedom and having space to do things in my life. And if I'm honest, I navigated loads of bumps in the road to get to where I am now. And I'll be sharing some of my insights and lessons with you today in the hope that I can help you to avoid making some of those for yourself. So let me introduce you to the Fear to Freedom process. This is a process that I've designed and I use this with my clients, both one-to-one and in my groups. And I want to give you a flavour of some of the content so you'll see how this shows up in what I teach you today. But I'm only really scraping the surface with this. So we're talking about fear to freedom. So it's about getting from where you are now, applying the right strategies to enable you to live a life of choice, of freedom, a better life, an even better life, whatever that is for you right now. So my first step was that I had to choose a path. So I was faced with this option of going back to work in the corporate environment or changing my life completely. And I had so many choices. In fact, I was fortunate because I did have so many choices. And I had so many interests and passions, but that made it really confusing. Did I want to pursue my career in a different industry? Did I want to pursue my coaching business? Did I want to go and buy a farm and run a campsite in the middle of the countryside? Did I want to run retreats and help people to really focus on their mind and body? And actually, if I'm honest, what I wanted was all of those things. I didn't know where to start. And I read something by Les Brown, who's an incredible motivational speaker. And he talked about wayward winners. And I realized this was absolutely me. I was making all the effort, trying all the things. And yes, I was making some progress, but it wasn't effective. And it was taking me a lot longer than it needed to, because I was trying to go in so many different directions. And what I really needed to do was to create the space for myself to choose a path. So here's what I did. I stepped into it and I visualized what I really, really wanted. And I used this model of be, do, have. I needed to think big. This was a big, important change for me. I needed to connect with my heart and my head. I needed to get unstuck and I needed to get moving. And the only way to succeed at that was to get my mindset right first. This was exactly the same approach that I had only applied a couple of years before when I ran the London Marathon. The only way to succeed in that for me was to get my mindset right. So I visualized over and over again, feeling strong, placing one foot in front of the other and smiling all the way to the end. I had to cast aside any thoughts of not having done it before and approach the event with the confidence of a marathon runner. Not trying, not hoping, being. And as the picture shows, I know it. I don't say this to brag, but to share a very important insight about life success, because I see so many people missing out on the life they truly want. Here's the thing, success is be, do, and have in that order. And it's easy to believe that you need to have all your ducks in a row, have everything lined up before you make the change, take the leap, and be successful in whatever that is that you're striving for. But it's just not true. Who's breathing a sigh of relief right now? I know I did. I've worked with so many individual people who want to change something in their lives. Big changes, small changes, and it all starts with the same thing. How you show up in your own life is what's going to give you the success, and your mindset underpins everything. You can learn all the tactics and strategies in the world, and they have their place, of course. But if you don't have the right mindset first, you're not going to have the success you want. That's why so many people don't get through their New Year's resolutions. And that's exactly the reason why I teach mindset to all my clients, and it is in all of my programs. It's not enough to fake it until you make it. It goes deeper than that. Like my marathon experience taught me, it's about 100% stepping into being the successful person first, then doing all the actions required to then experience the success. So you need to think about this in the context of your own happy life, your best happy life, an even better life for you. Stay into that and visualize this. And I would really encourage you to take this concept and really work on this. What would it be like to have that even better life? What are you going to need to do to take you there? And then you can experience what it's like to have that even better life. And the first mindset shift that I had to overcome was actually getting started. Getting started is the tough bit. And I got myself stuck so many times. And I really hope you learn from my mistakes and you take heed of some of the mindset shifts, because it might help you to avoid the mistakes or even overcome them quicker than I did. Because sometimes you don't know where to start. I would really love you to take action as a result of this. So the first mindset shift that I'm going to share with you is that it is safe to have a goal. Now, some of you will be listening to this thinking, well, of course it's safe to have a goal. You need a goal in order to move forward. But sometimes when you're faced with many options and choices, it's easy not to have a goal. And sometimes you can say to yourself, it feels too scary to have a goal because it feels big. It feels like a massive commitment. And I know for me, this was definitely the challenge. I didn't want to put a goal down on paper because I was scared. Was I making the right choice? Was I setting myself up for failure? All the things come through your mind. And there's far too many things for me to share with you than I can have space for in this workshop today. But the first mindset shift is that it's safe to have a goal. So here's what I'd love you to do. I'd love you to set your own goals. So I would love you to have a think about what you really want to focus on in your life and why that is so important to you right now, in this moment, right now. And how do you feel about this as a focus for the next 1 to 3 months? Because you need to be able to put the energy and the effort into this. Willpower alone will not sustain you. So if you get excited about this as a focus, or you're driven by something inside you that's lighting you up, that's lighting that fire that you can continue with, then that is what you need to be going on to get you through. And then as a result of today, I'd like you to think about what you want to focus on, why, and how you feel about it. And then I want you to name 3 actions that you can take or you can start taking today to move you forward. And then I'd like you to take it a step further with the results that you're aiming for. Now, I've really whizzed through that, okay? So this is something for you to do after this workshop. So just make a little note of those things. What do you want to focus on and why? How do you feel about this as a focus? Name those actions and then really start to articulate what are the results that you're aiming for. So I did this for myself. I started to set my own goals, and quite quickly I realized it was really a lot harder than I thought. And even though I was already a trained coach at this stage and had been coaching for over 10 years, I found it challenging to set my own goals. So the second mindset shift that I had to overcome was that it's okay to ask for help. And that was a really big deal for me, because as a coach at that time, I felt a bit embarrassed to ask for help. I didn't know who to ask for help. I was struggling with, what do I actually need help with? And it is okay to ask for help. Now, that help could come in the form of books, of podcasts, of courses, of mentors or coaches. The image below is me on the right with my very first mentor, Lisa Bean, who is absolutely incredible. And I met her in my corporate life. And actually, she stumbled back into my life as I was in the midst of my identity crisis. And I started working with her as my mentor. And she taught me some incredible things. And it's really about getting started on that journey. And I felt delicate, I think it was fair to say. I wasn't living my best happy life at that time. I wasn't unhappy. My life was good. But I knew that I didn't want to be living this corporate life. And I knew I had to do something different to get me moving away from that. I had to change my mindset. I had to refocus on what I really want in life. And she was the first person that I asked for help from. And even though I got all the amazing help, I listened to podcasts, I read books, I did courses, I found other coaches to help me with different things also. And I did loads of thought exploration and journaling. Even so, I still experienced some bumps along the road. And here's the third mindset shift. Those bumps, they're part of the process. They are what you need to navigate, what you need to get over, under, through, or round to help you get to where you want to be. Those bumps are signs. They're indications that you're maybe getting some resistance, that there's something you need to work on there. So actually, the bumps, while we see them sometimes as barriers or obstacles, they're opportunities for learning. They're opportunities for insights. And actually, what I really noticed was when I changed my mindset to let my brain know that it was safe to experience these challenges, that it was okay to change course, take a pause, or even stop completely, everything changed for me. Everything changed. And that can feel really hard, especially changing course or starting something that you feel like you've started several times in your life, because you can feel like you've invested so much in it to date. I mean, like invested time, energy, effort, money, whatever that is. But it is okay to notice those bumps and to change course as a result of the process. But the old me would get so far and a bump would knock me off course. I'd feel deflated. I'd question, was it worth it? Then my focus would change. I'd try and chase something new and shiny. And I had to stop all these different ideas. And I had to just bring it back to, if I could only choose to do one thing for the rest of my life and really focus on creating my best happy life, a life of contentment, joy, and freedom. And if I could only do one thing, what would it be right now? And that is a question that I would love you to ask yourself. If there was only one thing that you could progress at the moment that was going to have a really incredibly positive impact on your life right now, what would that be? And here's the change that I made. I promised myself that I would follow one path, and that if I experimented with it and it didn't feel right, that it was okay to change paths. I think one of the big learnings here was that I didn't know if I was taking the perfect path. Does anybody ever know those things? In fact, I've been down a few rabbit holes and, come back to the things that light me up. I don't regret any of those decisions, and I had to create the move to see what worked for me, what didn't work with me. And even if it wasn't the perfect path, I wouldn't know until I'd actually made some movement. And it has to feel right. In your gut, you have to know that it feels right. And sometimes creating our best life, creating a life of contentment, it can have some bumps along the way. Sometimes we have to make changes in our life that other people don't like, but you have to create that movement towards what it is that you do, as long as it's aligned with your values. And actually, the right thing to do is creating movement, even if they're small steps, because those small steps will make the difference. But what I noticed along the way is that quite often we compare our journey and our progress and our success to others. So here was the fourth mindset shift that I had to overcome. I had to tell myself comparison was unnecessary. It wasn't just unnecessary, it was not helpful to me at all. In fact, it was destructive to my journey. And I love this quote: comparison is the death of true self-contentment, which might sound a bit strong, but I really believe in the power of that. We are all unique. We have our own journey. Every decision, choice that you've made has taken you to this very point where you're here on this workshop with me today. Everything. You are unique. You are your own journey. You bring your own skills and qualities. And even if those qualities might mean you're a great relationship builder, well, then someone else could be a great relationship builder, but they don't do it in the way that you do it. You have your own strengths. You bring your whole self and your own unique energy to the party. And for me, this focus on comparison was a real challenge to me stepping into and living my best life. At one point, I questioned, I'm in my mid-30s. Is it possible for me to create an incredible business at my age? I mean, what was I thinking? Of course it's possible. Is it possible for me to live the life I want to live in terms of the lifestyle, the home environment, the things that are important to me? Of course it's possible. It's possible with a relentless focus on your own best life, what that is for you. Your best life, your most contented, your most relaxed, your most calm, happy, grounded life is what you create. It's what's important to you and maybe to your family. Your friends and others could judge that, and those people might compare you. And that's just part of the change. But really for you, it's about staying focused on what that true self-contentment looks like for you and keeping that relentless focus on it. But here's the thing, results take time. And that was one of the other mindset shifts I had to make. I had to tell myself that results do take time. Of course they do. It's the effect of the small action taken daily, taken regularly, that build up over time. And so when I think about my marathon example, I didn't turn up to the start line and run a marathon. It was an upward spiral. I started off by running 5 kilometers. In fact, even before that, I started off walking 5 kilometers. And I built up step by step, increasing my training incrementally to get me to that start line, to start healthy, to finish healthy with a smile on my face, which I achieved. But I had to tell myself results do take time and be okay with that. So here's a quick summary for you around those mindset shifts. It's safe to have a goal. It's okay to ask for help. Bumps in the road are just part of the process. Comparison is unnecessary, and results take time. So I'm sure you've started thinking about making your progress in the context of what you've been taking in today and also in the other sessions. Sometimes it can feel like you're not getting anywhere fast. It can feel like it takes longer and longer. And I know there's going to be some of you listening that want to just dive in and get those results. But it really is sometimes about just trusting the process, keeping going with it. Because here's the magic formula. All the effort you put in, all the actions you take are what bring you to the results. So this is a magic formula that I teach a bit more in depth in my own course, but it's also something that I really embrace, live and breathe. And this magic formula for me is a game changer. When you think about how much effort you're putting in and how much effort you're putting in coupled with the right action, is what's going to give you those results. I hear it time and time again where people talk about weight loss and they say, well, I tried pretty hard. I did pretty well. I was pretty focused. Okay, so when you give yourself a score out of 10 for effort, where were you? Were you 5? Is that a 7? Well, then if you're putting in a 10 out of 10 for effort and you're going all in, guess what? If you're taking the right action, those results are going to come quicker. This is really powerful because it's about consistency. And as I say, it's an absolute game changer for me. And I'll talk about this in more depth in some of the other programs that I offer. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to dare to dream bigger. I want you to think about what you talked about at the start of the session, that focus, and think about why is it important to you right now. I want to encourage you to think about how you want your own best life to feel. And I want you to also consider maybe a tough question. Why hasn't it been possible for you before? Maybe it's because this is new. Maybe it's because you haven't given yourself permission to think like this before. Maybe because you've stopped yourself from making that progress. Who do you want to become? Think of you in the context of your best life. What does that mean that you, in terms of showing up? And what needs to change in order for that to happen? So think about that be, do, have principle. And the final question, what is made possible if you are living your best life? And it's a big question. I know that it is a big question. So here's the simplest way you can start to live your best life from today. Start with the changes that you can make in your day-to-day life. So when we think about the effort and the actions, and we think about taking those consistently over time, whatever area of your life that is in, the simplest way that you can step into living your best life is to start doing these things around your daily life. Fit them in, making those practical day-to-day choices and decisions. It sounds crazy, but even something as simple as if you're trying to watch your sugar intake, instead of grabbing a biscuit, grab a carrot. And yeah, the biscuit may seem more enticing, but it's a practical choice. It's a practical decision that will change what you put into your body and will help you, if that's something that's important to you, to stay focused on what it is that's important. And I want you to be grateful for where you are and what you have now, because so often when we're thinking about what we want in life, whether that is even better or our best, we forget about all the cool things that are in our life right now. So I'd love to remind you to be grateful for where you are and what you have, because like I said earlier, the results of where you are now are based on your actions and decisions and choices that you've made right up until this point. You're here with me because you chose to be, and you're here on this path of your journey because you made those choices. So be grateful for where you are and also what opportunities that's giving you right now, because you can move forward into doing something different. And when you say it like that, it sounds easy, doesn't it? But those simple switches that we can make every single day make a massive difference. And it's not just about mindset. Yes, there can be game-changing, those shifts that I've shared with you, but it's also so much more than that. But the reason I'm here with you is because I really believe that your best life is right there in front of you. It's there. You're living it today because you've created it, and you can live an even better life really simply by just making some tweaks. You've done the hardest bit. You've showed up for yourself. You've engaged in these workshops. You've given up some of your downtime maybe, and you're hanging out with me. So thank you very much for that. You know, I introduced you to the Fear to Freedom process, which is all about taking you from where you are now and introducing you to that concept of focus, energy, action, and results that takes you towards living a better life. So let me just recap for you. I asked you a very important question at the start. I shared with you 5 mindset shifts that really make a difference. And I promise you, give those a go. They really make a difference. They made a massive difference in my life. And I share with you the simplest way you can start living your best life from today, ultimately taking you to your freedom, your best life, where you are free to live the life that truly fulfills you. And I'm so happy you've shown up here for yourself, investing in you. And I know that you'll be taking action over these workshops, and that's amazing. And the truth is that this stuff takes time. Yes, there are shortcuts. Yes, there are ways that you can get maximum progress in a short space of time. It is possible. And I'm not going to tell you it's not, but there is always balance. It's about creating new ways of living, new ways of thinking, new ways of feeling. You can do this, and I'd love you to continue the journey with me. So let's connect. I'm Amie Cruz Coach on all the social channels, but the main place I hang out is Facebook. Come and find me on Facebook, and then I'll be able to invite you to my brand new community, which is coming soon. If you want to find out more about working with me, you can head over to my website, amiecruzcoach.com, and you can have a look at all the resources I've got available. And it also talks to you about my programs and what I have available. I would love to hear from you after today. So if you found what I've useful, inspiring, and it's helping you to think about what a better life looks like for you, let me know. Tag me on Facebook, tag me on Instagram, drop me a message. I would absolutely love to hear from you.
Wow. Yeah, I put in the chat box that I felt like that was just for me.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Yeah, I loved what
Yeah.
you said there. It was really nice. I really do speak from the heart on this because it's been my journey. You know, these are the things that I have actually put into practice for me to get me where I want to be. It's not just some sort of theory I'm teaching. And so, so I'm further on than my mid-30s now, but I've been putting this into practice for a while. But I'm really pleased that it spoke to you and hopefully, you know, giving you some thought prompts to take forward.
Definitely. I mean, I think the whole weekend almost feels like I've put to my perfect event to help me get where I want to be. So yeah, I mean, if anybody else has got anything out of it, then that's great. But if they haven't, I have.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think for me. It's been amazing, and I think that the way you deliver just has been the perfect sort of end to the weekend, because it's almost like, look, you've seen all this, you've learnt all this, you've picked all these little bits up along the way. Now go out there and do it, and to give everybody that real confidence to do that.
Yeah, because actually there's there's been so many incredible inspirational speakers and there's so much to pull together, and I think sometimes we'll allow ourselves to sort of consume, find it useful, but then it's actually about doing something with it, and you can't do everything, but it's like pick a mix, what's useful now, what you need right now. And a bit like Josie was saying in the chat box, you know, it's actually about part of this big life jigsaw. You know, she was talking about sort of embracing the ups and downs and things, but I think we do have this big life jigsaw, and so there's going to be bits and pieces that are more useful to us at different times. So yeah, obviously take from this what you need right now, and then come back to the rest of it when you need it.
I mean, that's one of the things that I've always done, is that I did a talk many years ago on what I call jigsawism, which was the ability to take all the pieces of the jigsaw and find, like, see the big picture, put all the outside pieces in place, and then find all the people that fit into that box. And I sort of feel like that's what we've done this weekend. I saw the big picture, and then all you people that have come along and helped me with this has just fitted into that perfectly to create this beautiful picture. And it's been really inspirational. The whole thing has just blown me away. It's better than I expected. So Yeah.
You created the perfect event. And I think something in the chat, I've just lost where it was now. I think it might be Louise had said, it's time for action. Actually, it was Josie. It's time for action now. So it's about sort of letting yourself simmer with these things, noticing what's come up for you, what's resonated. But actually, it is about then doing something that's going to serve you best right now. So it's been an absolute joy to be part of this.
Yeah, it's been great, and I'm glad to see we've got people coming from yesterday's people as well that were around. That's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks everyone for popping some comments into the chat. If anybody's got any questions, then I've put a bit of time in here to take any questions if anybody wants to ask anything. But,
Rosemary, when the student is ready, the teachers will appear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly how it worked. I talked about Lisa Bean, my sort of first mentor, and she was somebody who I'd actually hired in my corporate capacity. And we'd sort of not lost touch, we're sort of connected, but at arm's length, if you like. That was exactly the experience that I had. I was sort of doing this little searching, who am I, what am I about thing? And she just popped into my inbox. And it was like, oh, this is curious and interesting. And I'm getting goosebumps now, even thinking about it.
Listening to you,
yeah. And it was just to be. And I mean, that set me off on this path, essentially, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I mean, normally when I would do something like this, I'd say if one person has got something out of it, it's been a success. And I know it's been a success because I've got so much out of the whole weekend personally. And I've just loved doing it. I've loved presenting. I've even loved all the tech issues, even though at the time I could have just done, mind blown thing. But it's taught me so much about what I need to do next time, and also that it doesn't matter. In my past roles as an event manager, when things like that went wrong, I would have just probably ended up in a corner crying.
Yeah. It is stressful. Yeah, it's stressful. But I think when you're working with people in the sort of capacity that you are here, guests and speakers, we're all human, right? And I think it's that expectation of ourselves and for others. And there's all this sort of swan-like on the surface, and there's a crazy paddling underneath.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. That's part of it. But I love events like this because actually the people that come are the people that are giving and kind and are interested and curious and all of the amazing things. And they're people that I want to hang out with.
Absolutely.
So that's perfect.
Yeah. Brilliant. So I don't see any more questions. No. Just Louise is a bit blown away at the moment and needs some processing time. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely needs some processing time.
I'll join the table in a second.
Yeah, I think that's it now. Because that was the end of the session, and what I wanted to do was to almost a little bit of a, pulling all the information together, which I might do if I've got the time to sort of process it, but I'm not sure I have. I might just leave it there and let us all have a chat in one of the rooms.
Perfect.
So we'll end that soon, and I'll see you in one of the chat rooms.
Thank you.
Bye.